Hello, welcome to this review of Star Trek Online. I'm going to have a look at this game by Cryptic. It's been around for a little while and I played it once before when it first came out, but I've decided to return to it and see what's new. I've got a couple of old characters which I created in the past and I'll play test one of those, but just to show you the character creation process, I'll make a new character now. I'll make a new Federation character. Star Trek Online is your fairly traditional MMO. You pay a monthly fee, you play online with thousands of other people. There are three careers, which are classes basically. The engineering officer is the nearest thing you have to a tank class. The science officer is more like a sort of healer, and buffer, and the tactical officer is someone who does a lot of damage. So I'm going to try an engineering officer. And one thing that you'll see about the game is that it has masses of customization, lots of different options for your character. There's a huge amount of options for how your character looks, and you can just make a human looking character as well if you want to, even if it's an alien. They can look like a human, or they can look like a human with green skin or a funny nose if you like. Actually, let's just randomise everything. So, oh my god, so you can see if you play around in the character creator, there's a massive range. You can control just about every aspect of the character's appearance. Next, customise your body. This is a standard, how tall he is, arms, legs, that type of thing. The game allows you to buy all sorts of new uniform pieces from the store, so even though you're paying a monthly fee, it's a little bit cheeky the way it works. You can also pay extra for little perks like uniforms from the films that you can't get anywhere else. But I haven't done that because I don't really want to. And you start off in a space station near planet Earth. Oh, actually no, we're starting off in space. This isn't what I remember at all. This has changed, I think.
After I left Starfleet, I made it my life's work to reunite the Romulans with their Vulcan
There's a
brothers.
little story. Leonard Nimoy gives you a backstory.
For many years, I lived among them.
But it's set in the world of the TV show
to Star Trek
and the various films, but not the new film. So when Leonard Nimoy tries to explain how his character as Spock fits into all of this, it doesn't really make sense, because his character Spock has disappeared into a new alternate universe in this timeline.
Objects that you can interact with will flash.
So
move near them and press F or double click on the object.
So you start off with a simple mission which teaches you how to play the game, and you end up with going outside and fighting some Borg cubes. It's quite a good way to start the game, with an exciting fight against an important enemy, a big enemy, not against some. It's not like one of those MMOs where you play a mage and you have to go and kill 10 rats or something. You start off fighting the Borg. I'm going to play with one of my real characters now. You see I've got two. I've got Tim. I'll give him silly names from a Star Trek perspective. And this female character called Sally. That's my idea of humour, to give them very sort of normal names. I'm going to play Sally, who I've been playing lately, and she is a tactician, as I recall. Let me remind myself what the classes are called. Tactical bridge officer. Which means that she's good at shooting things, which is good. But the game is very interesting the way they do it. You have your main character, called Sally, in my case, The spaceship is almost like a character. You can fit stuff to it. I'll talk about the spaceship later. You also have a range of officers. So in my crew I have these all NPCs, 8 of 8. This was a name chosen by the game itself. I just kept it. She's a recovered Borg, which in fact you probably won't be able to get now. I got a Borg character because I pre-ordered the game ages ago. Mira, who is a Andorian, whatever that is. So this one is an engineering officer. I've got 2 tactical officers, and I have a science officer, and they all bring different skills. If you look down the bottom here, the tactical officer brings a skill to improve the way my torpedoes fire. The second tactical officer also has a torpedo skill and a phaser skill, and the Borg engineering officer repairs my shields, and then the science officer has a skill which gives a sort of a boost to my shields, not quite a repair, but a boost. Each officer has skills, and you can train them up. So, for example, when I gain a level, or when I gain, whenever I complete a quest, actually, I don't even need to gain a level, I will gain skill points. This is my skill tree for my character, and I can choose where to put the skills, which is fantastic. For the officers, they only have a limited number of skills. However, I can get a different officer, and I could train one of these officers in the skill that a different officer possesses. So, to explain, Mira, who is an officer on my spaceship, has the torpedo high yield skill, which means that if you use that skill and then fire your torpedoes, the torpedoes will do much more damage than normal, and that's a pretty good skill to have. But supposing I didn't like it, I could recruit another science officer with a different skill, and I could either just get rid of Mira and use that new tactical officer instead, or if I like Mira, if I want to keep her for some reason, perhaps because the other skills she has are good skills, which I do like, I can say to the new tactical officer, I don't actually want you to join my crew, but I just want you to train Mira in a skill that you know. Get rid of torpedo high yield and train her in a different skill, a skill that you can teach her, which is better, which in my opinion as a person playing the game is better. So what that means is that you, as a player, you can control your officers. You can control which skills they learn, even though it's a bit of a complicated process. You also control the equipment they have, because the equipment comes in useful on ground missions, where they also have skills that they can use, completely different skills to the ones they use in space. And you can even control their appearance. You can take them to the tailor on one of the space stations, a nice Cardassian tailor in keeping with Deep Space Nine, and you can change their appearance and make them look the way you want them to look. Missions generally have 2 elements to them. Space combat and ground combat. In fact, they always have those 2 elements. That's all you get in Star Trek, the MMO. Space combat in this game is good. It's really good fun. And ground combat is rubbish. You'll probably see a bit of both. Space combat involves... well, it depends how you fit out your ship, actually. You can add equipment to your ship which changes the way the ship works, and basically changes the way that you're going to fight your enemy. So in my case, it's a case of getting in front of the enemy, getting them in front of me. My ship, if you look at where the mouse is, I have 4 shields, front, back, left and right, port and starboard, I guess you'd call it. I'm going to ignore that anomaly for now. Oh, here's an enemy. So, what you need to do is to ensure that if your shield goes down, you need to make certain that the side of your ship where the shields are weak is not the side that's facing the enemy.
Target shield has failed.
So I'm actually trying to kill these little bastards. So my aim is to get the enemy shields down. There's my target. So I need to face them in order to do good damage to them. Although that's because of the way I've chosen to fit my ship. There are other ways of doing it. But when I am facing them, I'm killing them pretty good. As you can see, my right shield is getting a bit weak, although I'm using various skills to try to repair my shields as best I can. But I need to turn my ship, basically. I need to turn my ship so that I'm facing them, so that my best weapon is able to fire at the enemy that I wanted to fire at.
Target shield has failed.
While at the same time ensuring that they are not able to fire against the side of my ship, which is weak. Ground combat is pretty terrible. I mean, partly just because the enemy have so many hit points, which I think is something that Cryptic are in the process of changing. But battles go on forever. I mean, it's just so hard to take them down. It may not seem too bad when you see this, but you have to remember that a mission is going to include a lot of enemies to fight. So you're just spending it. What is she wearing? So I'm going to tell them all to attack this guy here.
Enemy targets on sensor.
Bloody hell, look at this.
Flanking damage detected.
Again, it's quite frantic, but God, this is actually quite hard. And obviously there can be some tactics involved in the fact that you can tell your team where to go. You can tell them who to attack. And it's not just your character, all of your team, you can give them different guns. So although you don't directly control their actions, you don't directly tell them sort of when to fire. Clearly the type of weapon that you give them is the weapon that they're going to use. So you can create a team which is using the special abilities, the special weapon powers that you want them to. The combat here, it actually sort of looks quite exciting, doesn't it? But it's not. Over time, there's a general consensus, I think, that the ground combat in Star Trek Online is not as involving as it could be. You get bored of it quite quickly. Whereas the space combat is really good. Space combat just keeps on being really